45 minutes left in the trading session and the trading week. Let's have a look at how things stand heading into the last hour. 1.6 really nice gains right across the board. It's worth saying. 1.12 here for the Dow. It's the NASDAQ leading. Very strong for tech stocks all afternoon, 2.25%. Everything nicely higher, even Ethereum still holding on to 9% on the day. Bitcoin has come off a little bit, but so much to get into, guys. Marathon Petroleum, some trouble possibly involving this 7-Eleven deal.
Trouble? I'm going to say there's some trouble. Now, first things first, I tried shorting this one on the way back to the upside. That did not work out, but it is looking, it's actually, you're going to show Marathon flat on the session. That's the first thing, but it's a little bit deceiving because there was a halt this morning, news pending. Then it opened up and actually started rallying, but it turns out that 7-Eleven deal could cause prices to soar at gas stations. It's been deemed illegal by the FTC, so threatening, and they got, I mean, remind me about the size of that deal, but it was several billions of dollars. But anyways, all the way down to 56 from 60 to a monster move. Now, I tried shorting off of what was the previous close level at 59. It's rounding off at that price, so I got smoked already once trying to short the retracement. And even worse than that is, I had Disney short near the top. We went into a meeting, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just take it off with a tight stop. It breaks the high of the day. And then, of course, it slams back to the downside. I will say this, though. Sean was off this morning, and you're going to see Arun is over here. But look at that position. Arun has got Palantir to the long side. So in spirit, Palantir is still in flavor. 1955, just a teeny bit in the money there, Arun.
Yeah, you know, funny thing with this is that this trade, I'm going to pull up the Palantir on my screen. This trade was done at 10:50 this morning. That's amount in front of 20 there. And here we are, almost 4 hours later, or more than 4 hours later, and I'm still holding on. I've got a trailing stop just underneath 90, and we're just going to let this one ride out. Hey, if Sean's on here, he loves Palantir from what I understand. The technical setup was available today on that 1950 break, and here I am all over that. So that's one trade. Oh.
So apparently, allegedly, y'all didn't hear any of that because Arun's mic is off. But what I can tell you is Arun is long Palantir at 1955. He forgot that he had the position on this morning and then found he was just deep in the money because that's how he rolls. He's Arun. He's the GOAT. He's going to get his mic on. And I'm going to let you know that I tried Palantir too, but it was for the 20 break. It was actually pretty good. It got up to like 2020. And then this nonsense happened, guys. It just flushed right back in. I got out break even. I feel like this is going to be one we can trade going into the close. But as much as I want to be only the bull on Palantir, I was sitting in this in the last like 15% of my position when he had this flush come in and sort of stop me out when we broke back through that 20 even. So I kind of have to think about the bear case for it, guys. I mean, if we level off and cannot hold 20 even, we get below, it's probably going to be a short for me. There's one more. We're going to go back through in a quick second, but I also have Fisker on. Off for the low of the day, it's finally bounced and never tested 10. Previous close, 9.95. So as much as Fister's given back on that Foxconn news, I tried it in the morning, got stopped out. It bounced once off 10.15, didn't catch that. I've got it long again. I've already scalped like 10 cents out of it. I want to see if we can get this one back all the way to VWAP. So try number 2 over here in Fisker off of the bottom. Arun, is your mic working?
Well, the mic was fine. I just didn't put it on because, you know, I'm a rookie at this, apparently. Here we are with Palantir. Back to Palantir. I was just saying, I've had this trade since almost just before now, 11 o'clock this morning. Here we are 4 hours later, and I'm still holding on. I got some out in front of 20. Here we are, about 45 cents in the money, and I'm just going to let this one play out. If the 90 breaks, then we'll get it out. And another trade I've had for a while now, HD, Home Depot, short, 322.34, 325 stop. It went up against me, came back in the money, and now we're just kind of going sideways. I'm out about 90 cents or so, but hey, I won't get out of this. I like the trade. If it's going to go, it's going to go. If it's not, it's not. I've got about 40 minutes left to figure out what this market wants to do with it, so we'll let it play. What else am I carrying? Just those two, Palantir long and HD short. One of the better trades, though, for the day was Square. I'm not sure. I'll go to Square when we come back. What's up, Brendan?
Yeah. What a move for Square today. Still very, very strong. Just want to mention this one, little one, ATOS. Just coming up to day highs here. Some volume coming in at the end of the session here. $3 ends up being a rejection point. There's a huge level here at 3 for this ATOS. Not seeing anything significant as far as headlines, guys.
All these movers with no news. That's what it's like. I don't know. It's like the flavor of the day to short them. I want to go to DoorDash if I can for a second, because it's been obviously pretty impressive. If 22% to the upside doesn't impress you, I don't know what to say. There was a break this morning. We had that 130. Probably took it off a tiny bit too early. I mean, I had a target at one point of 140, and then sort of talked myself into a 135 out and never got back into it. We've held this 137.60 at least a few times, but starting to trend back in. I would not want this break in 137.50. I think that could be all systems go to the downside. I'm going to be on that ATOS in a quick little second, but Disney is continuing this rollover. Now it's consolidating a little bit. Look, I don't have 174.50, but if we break 173.50 to the downside, I'm going to play the retracement on Disney. I had a big short off of the open. I then got into a second one, which lost. The third one probably would have still been good, but I had to take it off there. I want to get a fourth trade in here if I can. I'm only looking short. Look, I love Disney, but I'm only looking short today, even on the strength it's shown all afternoon. And then Palantir, by the way, it's holding that 20 for now. So I guess the bull case might still be in. Sean in Spirit seems like he's keeping that stock up. Disney through 173.50, likely to be my next trade here.
Yeah, for me, apart from Square, well, let's go to Square. Square was that trade I got just over 205, got some out in front of just over 207, 207.20. I'm just going to recap my trades because it's 3:20, 40 minutes left. I've got two positions on. I'm not going to add any more going into the close. It gets a little volatile, and I don't want to take any more risk at this point. So I'm just going to recap the trades I've taken for the day if you guys weren't available to see the morning show. So 205 long, 207 out, and then I got some out at 206 as well. So 206.50 average on those exits, and that's a quick $1.50. That didn't take that long. I got in around 10:05, got out around 10:45. 40 minutes, relatively speaking, that's quiet. Now, Neil was talking about Disney. He was shorting this. I was waiting for that 173.50 break, and I went long, and I got out just above 174. There's a lot of action there. I wasn't comfortable holding on to this trade because when I took the 173.50, the risk was 171, so I'm risking $2.50. But at the same time, I understand that we're going into some action, some resistance. So if it starts slowing down just enough, that's enough for me to just get out of the way. And that was a quick, that was a 50-cent winner or so. That was easy 50-cent winner, as that only took a good half an hour there. So what's up, Brendan?
One more to look at here, guys, heading towards the close. Just watching the retail group. Here's Macy's. We talked about this initially this morning. It held 16 at the bottom down here. It's been a steady march higher. Yeah, almost 15% today for Macy's. What a move today.
Unbelievable. And into earnings next week, of course, that is Macy's. I just got that ATOS, I'm going to call it ATOS, 98.25. Got a bit of a blended price. Is it bounced away from this guy? On the offer here. Look, it's only actually 150,000 shares. The stock has done 20 million, so that's not a monster level. If this wasn't sort of at least decently significant off of $3, I probably wouldn't care too much about the size that we're looking at off that offer, but it does present you with a scalp trade opportunity with a previous high being that 290. If you can get like 5 to 10 cents for half the trade. I mean, obviously only risking a couple of cents here to be able to have that out is going to be worth it for me. If you don't have direct market access, it's probably not the kind of trade that's necessarily for everybody, but I'm going to put it on. We got it here, 98s. That Fisker does want to move in the money. I could have set a line there. I'm not going to do it. That Fisker does seem to want to gravitate towards the upside, so it feels like we might get the bottom here. I want to be able to hold, if I can, I want to hold this one in through VWAP or potentially right into the close if we can. For me, that usually means like that 350, just to check and make sure the imbalances don't come in the wrong direction. I hate to get caught in the wrong side of an imbalance on a Friday. That's usually not the way to go, especially on a name which has been volatile like a Fisker. Still looking for Disney to make that breakdown. It's very, very close. You get this consolidation. I think, look, if anyone was in the money on this short, it's not the worst when you take off like 10, 15%, get some profit out because the trend is to the upside. You don't want it to break back up and you've captured essentially nothing. So if it was me, and again, it's not because I'm not in the trade, I'd be thinking about taking some profit. If it breaks down again, you can always add to your position on a break of this level, which is what I'm doing, getting into it here. ATOS wants to move in the money. Not much, only a cent or so. If it goes like 4 or 5, I'll take it off. Take some off anyways. AMC, on the other hand, all the way back down to flat. Yeah, so that happened. Look, obviously it's day 2, guys. It's worth noting this is still holding above what was the afternoon break and this post-market and end of the day 1225 bottom. Still some room to go. You got to feel like if it closes above that, that's going to be a win for all of the bulls over in AMC. If it had tested down to this bottom, if this was like instead of 1250, 1225, I'd already be long in front of 1225, but it's not really there yet. So unless you're shorting the pops for a scalp, which I've had muted success, no success shorting AMC today, I'm going to stay away from that game. Not my cup of tea, although I do enjoy a good fritter. I have a good story about why. We some ribbing on the morning show, myself and Arun. First of all, we would never come to blows. He'd whoop my butt. But there is a good reason why we couldn't settle things ever by a fritter eating contest, which someone suggested, because that would be an unfair fight. I could probably eat 20 in the time that he could eat 2, despite him being a bigger guy. Brendan?
Coupang, guys. I just saw CPNG here. Not seeing anything really significant as far as news is concerned on this, but what a move for CPNG. We mentioned this yesterday. I think it was yesterday. This thing had earnings, and they were terrible. But right back up today to 36. So a big move up for Coupang to end the week, guys.
That one, that shocks me, man. Like, how is that so
Yeah, you know, when it comes to the fritter eating contest, yeah, I don't think I'd want to get involved in that. That's not my cup of tea. And absolutely, I believe, given how obsessed he is with fritters, I 100% believe that he would be able to eat 20. In fact, what we should do instead is actually watch him eat 20. So we should get him a box of 20 and see if he can do it throughout the show. That's an idea for anyone who wants to see that. Going back to trading here, AMC, I mentioned this. This is probably the trade that I'm most happy with because I mentioned the dynamics of this trade. See, 14 even, we marked off that 14.20 as a stop. They were selling around 14. I was worried about the amount of stops above 14.20. We got that snap above. While he was eating a fritter, the stock went through and back under. And then it hesitated, and I said, if it got below 13.75, I'm going to go ahead and take a short. It got underneath, I took the short. So what that does, technically speaking, is that it opens the door for some form of trap longs here. So you got to expect selling to come in after the fact. So here we are, got some out in front of 13 and got the rest out finally after it broke 13 and came back. I just dumped it all. So 65 cents with me putting 14.50 as a stop on a 13.75 break. That's got to be, like, in terms of dynamics, you have to understand not just technically, but what's behind it. And in this case, it's volume. There's a lot of volume sitting around 14. So you've got to understand why this market rotated, why it did what it did. So just pay attention to things like that. It's not always about what a bar looks like or what a candle looks like. It's about the volume behind all of that, and just try to conceptualize that when you guys are making your trades.
100%. And for the record, I will quickly tell this story. A friend and I, this is back in high school, like you get a dozen donuts because your metabolism is absolutely crazy, and we're going to play some Mario Kart, whatever. We're up in the condo, and we got a dozen donuts each. We have like a liter of chocolate milk, and then another buddy buzzes up, and he's like, yo, I'm coming over. And I turn my buddy and I go, he's not eating any of them. He didn't put in on these donuts. He's not getting any of them. In the time it took him to get up 20 floors, I had polished off all 20 and a half a liter of chocolate milk. True story. I can actually have it verified. It's disgusting, I know, but I can eat like you've never seen. Like I've eaten like 4 Whoppers during like the previews of a movie just as a joke among friends. I know it's just my thing. Like you would get your butt kicked in the eating contest. Anyways, Disney's gonna come in any second now. Oh, I think any second now on that 173.50 break. And ATOS. Shout out to Brendan for this one. I don't have it. What's my Brendan Goat? Come on, Brendan Goat. It's never where I need it. My Brendan Goat. And there it is. Lamb, goat, whatever. And of course, I go to type in NASDAQ and I type in New York. There we go, off that $3. You saw that 200,000 shares off the offer. So am I going to short 98s and 99s? Well, I got some 97s, mostly 98s and 99s. I'm going to do it. I'm going to scalp that trade. You know, if you have direct market access, you'll take advantage of size like that every chance you get. On a key level, you saw it on the daily chart. I'm only risking a couple of pennies to try and make, I've already made like a couple of cents on this. Like if it comes down to VWAP, it's a fantastic trade for you. You just have to be wary of the fact that you know what your out is. You're never making that trade and holding through $3. It makes literally no sense. Like there's no heroism. There's no averaging into it. It's it breaks, you're out. If it slides down, easy win. Thanks, Brendo.
Watch out for Tesla, guys. Heads up on Tesla if you're watching it this afternoon. I just saw a note from ABC News reporting that last crash they were investigating in California, it looks like the autopilot or autonomous driving software was in fact engaged in that crash. So heads up, there's no reaction yet. As you can see, we're up nicely, 3% here for Tesla, guys.
What? So okay, that's not what I would have expected out of that story. I'm going to stay, whoops, that's ASOS still. I'm gonna stay away from Tesla altogether and maybe come over to Uber, which makes a little bit more sense to me. I do not get why it would have that kind of reaction in the stock or lack thereof. Uber, this is a very similar chart to what you're seeing over in Disney, where you have that sort of pushback, you get the secondary breakout in the afternoon, and now we're consolidating lower. As much as I don't want this to be true, this is not necessarily like the greatest setup in terms of getting you much more than a scalp trade to the long side. But we have seen imbalances come through and maybe help a stock like this. I like a chance that this could give you like, I don't know, like 30, 40 cents in either direction on a bracket order. Ooh, wow, are you kidding me? This is like, Brennan, that's loud, by the way. Sometimes you draw a line in the sand, but I mean, all you got to do is like the Brennan goat. If I hit the Brennan goat again, is ATOS going to slip down all the way to my target at 280 for my last out? I don't know, but I'm willing to test that theory.
All right, one stock I'm looking at. Well, we're going to let Brendan cross the screen there. Oh, Brendan's across the road. Here we go. Regions Financial here. It just came up on the radar. It's got a lot of activity on it, trade activity. That's why it popped up on my radar here. If we can take 23.25, that would take out a high from pre-market on the 10th of May. So anyone looking for breakout trades there, or at least pushes of highs, there's a trade for you. Now, me, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be entering any new positions. It's 3:30. It gets really volatile at this point in terms of trading. But if you guys want new positions, I'm just throwing out an idea for you. At this point, I'm looking to figure out how I'm going to close out positions. I've got 2 left, and I don't want to be holding on too many. As you guys know here, we get out of our positions. By the end of the day, we are day traders. So these positions do need to be closed out. PLTR is one, and the other one is HD. So what I'm going to do with PLTR, trigger stop here, 1990, just underneath. If we break it, I'm out, hard stop. So I'm not even going to wait to see what happens. I'm just going to be getting out hard. This one here, HD. It's a tricky situation because the HD imbalance comes out at 3:50 p.m. Eastern time. That will change the direction of the stock very quickly. So if it doesn't make a move by 3:50, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a hard stop above the last bar on the 5-minute bar, just in case the imbalance comes out positive and shoots the stock up. I want no part of it. So if it does come down to the downside or comes out to the sell side, I do want to participate in that. So I just got to bring in a hard stop closer to the imbalance just so I don't get caught in a position that ends up going up and I have no chance of getting out. I only have 10 minutes to get out anyways. So in that case, it's just a matter of protecting any positions that I have against the imbalance. Now let's just go to the futures since we're already here. Futures, man, it's been quite the ride here. As you guys know, this morning I got long 31s, got some 39s and 44s out, and got the final leg out at 52.75. This thing went another 20 points. So quite impressive. As you can see, it was just a slow march up. Problem with this kind of move this late in the day is when you don't get a chance for sellers to get out, all of it happens at the same time towards the end of the day. So a sell throughout the day or midday would actually help the stock or help the futures go up higher. But given that we had no selling, I'd be worried about the amount of selling coming in right at the end there. So for now, I'm going to stay away from the futures. Of course, if we take the highs again, allows for the buyers to get out, and then we find new buyers, yeah, I want to participate in that. So if we get above 41.80 now, then I'll get some new longs up there. But for now, there's a decent amount of support all the way down to mid-50s. That's where I have to look. We are at 68. We got a lot of space to go, and I have no levels in between. So I do have to be careful on where I'm putting my orders if I decide to participate in anything related to the futures. But for now, market does look like it's coming down. HD hopefully will get down low enough where I can actually figure out what to do closer to the imbalance. And I'm also seeing tech start to come off a little bit. Apple here, one stock this morning I was shorting, and then I got out. Flat, relatively speaking. But for now, it does look like the market's coming off, and that's a good thing. If you want to be catching some bids, coming off now is a good thing because it allows for sellers to get out. If it gets more aggressive, then obviously you have to watch out for potential just wash given how many levels there are, which is none. So,
Or Arun, maybe you could just like buy all the futures right now, move the market up, push Fisker. No, I'm kidding. I'm long Fisker here. I'm like, this needs to get off the bottom. This thing's getting crushed, giving everything back, and the market wants to roll over just when it starts moving to the upside. I mean, I just took some off in front of 1040, and I'll get, look, I mean, if it gets to VWAP, like I always say with this type of trade, if it gets up to VWAP, I'm going to take it all out here. We're running out of time. It's like 25 minutes to go. I wish it was moving the way that ATOS is, because ATOS, which I keep putting in NASDAQ, in New York when it's NASDAQ, and this just keeps falling like an absolute rock. So we took shares off that 3. Brendan gave that level to you guys. It was obvious to see, showed you guys level 2 so you could see what was on the offer and why it was sort of obvious to get out in front of that one. Look, it's not a VWAP yet, but it seems like inevitable that we have a good chance to test some of these lower levels into the 80s. So that's a solid return there. I do want to go to Coinbase. It's been a good stock all week. I mean, today, probably notwithstanding, I took a couple of cuts at it, swung and missed. No golden sombrero like we were yesterday on GameStop. A couple of shots and missing on on Coinbase here. It is bounced off 56. If that was 50 again, I probably would have been into that long. But given the pullback it had this morning, coming off the earnings, coming off what looked like a positive response in the market, and then of course the market being up, and it can't hold the gains. I just don't like any price but the best, and that's going to be that 250 level. So I just don't see a heck of a lot that I love in GameStop, guys. So not GameStop, in Coinbase. So probably not going to be a trade. I don't see it really flushing into the close either. To go back to AMC, because I know some people are watching this bad boy, it's still playing this little game. It's pretty much range bound. This is the first time where it kind of looks like it might break through a recent, I guess, lower high, and that'd be just around this 13 area. So for the bulls out there, you're going to want to see it break through at least that 13. I think it's probably a chop zone and doesn't get much further than VWAP, but it's not testing 1225 either. So not much of a sexy trade when it comes to that AMC. And Disney, I kept saying Disney's about to trigger me in. Well, it finally did. So it just broke that 173.50. I just got the short at 48s. It's been a great ride to the upside for Disney. It never even got positive on the session. You can see the gap. That's an ugly one, of course. But this is actually above the price we were shorting off of the open. If it gets anywhere close to that 172, definitely going to have to take some profit on 173 break. But 172 would be an ultimate target, even if I have to. I don't care if it goes there in 2 seconds, I'm out. I don't care how much momentum's going into the downside. Probably taking $1 this time of day is going to be good.
Yeah, something that I just thought of is that MPC, the imbalance on MPC is going to be very interesting, because I can imagine if the news is that the deal is potentially going to get blocked, that could change the game on how many people want to hold or how many people want to dump their position. So MPC imbalance, let's keep an eye on that. I think that might be quite the size on that imbalance, given that it's a change in dynamic for the entire stock itself. So that's one to keep an eye on. I'm going to keep this up. I'm going to shorten the chart up to 1 minute chart here, just so I can actually see how it reacts to the imbalance. And the rest, all we can do, PLTR hanging around 20, not a whole lot to do there. Wait it out. Maybe the imbalance comes and pops this thing up. HD, same thing. It's out of the money, but again, we're looking for the imbalance to come and move this in our favor, of course. It might not. If that's the case, out immediately. Don't wait till 4 o'clock. Futures, what can we do? Selling, great. I want to see more and more of this, because it actually, selling is helpful to a buy if you can actually get it at the right location. In this case, there's no real entry point until the mid 50s, so let's see if you can actually get down there. Some selling actually helps the stock, help the market. It relieves some pressure, because given how strong the buying has been, and given that there's been no selling whatsoever, find some selling at the end of the day is expected and warranted at this point. So all we can do is really wait. Not a whole lot there, except for MPC, Apple. I just have Apple up, but it's not doing a whole lot there. Let's just go through one of my stocks that I lost on the day, since it's not all about the winners. It is about the losers as well. Mara. Okay, Mara is one of those stocks where I went short around 22 and dumped it at 23. I thought I had enough here. This is the 1 minute chart. I was using the 5 minute chart. Across the multiple day read here, you see the selling here around this 23 area as well. I thought I saw enough to take a shot at the short. It did not work out. But I also have come to learn that Mara is not a stock that I want to be trading. I feel like I got to stay personally, again, I want to stay away from certain sectors, types of stocks, and I think Mara, Riot, those are ones that I want to stay away from going forward. So that's just a lesson learned on my part. But for now, that's the big loser. That's the only big loser so far. And HD may be a loser depending on how that plays out. But for now, we're just waiting it out and see what happens.
And that market pullback, so I was complaining about it in the case of Fisker, but of course it's going to help things over here in Disney. So we'll hit this one for you guys and just go googly eyes. Look, we waited for the breakdown. I'm not going to play inside of the range. Once it comes out, I said I'll take some out in front of 173. That's what we did. Look, next target's going to be right down here in front of 172s, well in front of VWAP. With only about 20 minutes to go, you have to start thinking about, okay, you know, if it hasn't given you the home run, it might not do it, especially if you're counter trend. Like if you're long something, it's running and then sort of, you know, breaking out, which there really aren't many with the market rolling over, then that would be fine. But I'm sitting in a couple of shorts, which, you know, kind of sliding down, have already worked in the money for me. I don't want to give it past a break even in either case. With ATOS, that's pretty simple because it's a 98 short and there's a level at $3. With Disney, it's more, you know, you look at that area, that 50, which broke up to like a 60 or a 65, and you sort of have to play it a little bit by ear in that range, but only actively managing one position isn't that too big of a deal with a stop on the other. Fisker, no, it's at the point now of no worries where I don't really have to care too much about an imbalance that might come in the next 10 minutes, or in 10 minutes or so. We're deep enough in the money now off of that, you know, that 10.20 bottom here, well, 10.15 bottom, 10.22 entry price, that I kind of feel comfortable letting it roll into VWAP. If it comes out in my favor, I'll let the momentum take me out into VWAP. I'm not going to sit here and try to be a hero. Honestly, like, there's no point being. You just take the profit, man. Take the profit and run, especially with time running out. If you're here for the first time, Arun and I, and Sean when he's here, we have to be flat by the end of the day at Day Trader World, so it's not like we can participate. Like a stock like this, like a Fisker, can run into the close, and you guys have probably seen this, where at 4 o'clock it'll hit, and then there'll be another push, right? In the aftermarket, you know, some people buying it up, creating a bigger move, and then maybe a gap up the next kind of day. That'll happen from time to time. We don't participate in those. We get flat at the end of the day, so even when I see, in a couple of times, I've been like, yeah, this is about to go, and at 4 o'clock it's going to ramp, and I'm sitting with Oxygen one time, and then, you know, there's nothing I can do about it. I have to get flat and then watch it run at 4 p.m. Nothing we can do, nothing we can say, just take the profit and walk away. Thankfully, that's what we're doing here in ATOS. It continues to slide down. I just got 85s. I will fist bump it over and over again because I had not seen the stock. I didn't hear about it. And then Brendan says ATOS, $3. I look at the offer. It's just too easy, guys. So a fantastic look there. One of you guys in the chat was like, Neil, you should have a look. And I think it was Pack B. I'm like, yeah, I've never traded that name. I'll throw it on my quote board, maybe have a quick look at it, put it on the list to watch for tomorrow. I don't know that I'm going to add something for my list for trading today with about 20 minutes to go. That's a little bit much unless it's a crazy mover. I'll stick to what I have. They're all in the money. They're all working. And I'm trying not to look at MPC too much because like right before we came on here, I was like, I just got smoked on it. And yeah, okay, well, it's still, if I had hung on to it, it would have been even worse. So I kind of feel good about the exit. I probably shouldn't have hung on as long as I did to the short side of that trade. Rolling over at 60, the big news, of course, the FTC coming out saying that their deal with 7-Eleven or that sale is illegal. They got flushed. I tried to play the third move, not the second, and got burned.
All right, so one trade that I was actually looking at earlier today that I started the day, I looked at the stock, but then I kind of moved away from Facebook. Man, that Facebook setup at 310, that was solid. Like, if anyone was watching the Facebook, if you're looking for some sort of breakout, this is what you want. You want a consolidation and you want a breakout. If that's the kind of trade you want, then go for it. But that kind of setup is what you want. What's up, Brennan?
Wish, guys. Wish catching a wish, I guess. Into the close. This thing has been just destroyed over the past couple of days, but this is as parabolic as it gets, I guess. 21% here for Wish. Almost completely erasing yesterday's down move. It's pretty impressive.
Come on, son.
Neil, you were trading this earlier,
Come
weren't
on,
you?
son. I was short this thing. Look, I was short it yesterday. Like, in the pre-market, I shorted it at the open. I shorted it when it popped. We just, like, we're all day, all of us were looking at this saying, I don't understand how it's going up. Now, you get a move like that, and look, I am on the offer. You get a move like this, and I tried this in front of $9, and you look at this $10, and this was a level. We all were looking at $9.85 to the downside on a break, and then shorting in the 10 teens here. So when I see that pop up, that parabolic of a move that does not halt, and while I'm yapping away to you guys, like, this is the turn. I mean, I'm sitting there like, are you kidding me? It's the same price as we're short in the pre-market, and it makes this move there. I mean, that's kind of the turnaround. I'm sitting here in front of 85, because like the second Brendan said, I looked at the chart, I'm like 85.10. That was yesterday's level. Dang it. So obviously it's kind of coming down now, so I probably should. I almost don't want it. If this one comes back in here after turning like that, hard off 10, I probably don't want the fill back at 80, and it'll probably run through me and just knock me out like if Arun threw a roundhouse or something like that. So I joke about that, but he's like literally twice my size, so he probably would. Look, Wish is, I'm not saying it's a bad company, but we said over and over again, it's one of the worst performing IPOs in recent memory. Bumble's pretty bad as well. And it's been just getting crushed. Not a lot of people have a positive opinion on it. So when you get a bad report and you're breaking all-time lows, the question I asked myself yesterday was, especially in the morning, when we were looking at yesterday in the morning and there was so much weakness in some parts of the market, you tell yourself, who do you think would be putting money into this company on that particular day? I can give you all kinds of reasons why people are buying the dip on other names, but show me how that would be true in something like Wish. And it's not to pile on against them, but it's more if you have to make that bet. I was actually a little bit more bullish about Bumble that had to move to the downside as well, and that's why I took that one off too early. But Wish, it just couldn't catch a bid. I'm a little surprised at this. It has squeeze written on it, although I'm not sure exactly what the short rate is, or the short interest is. I'm guessing it's a little bit more than it was 5 minutes ago. If it gives you that 985 again, maybe something a little bit closer to 10. But if it's below 10, you can probably take a shot at it. I just wish I hadn't missed that one. I guarantee I'll be trading that on Monday. That's for darn sure.
All right. Okay, what do we do? HD. I'm still waiting on HD. We're less than 5 minutes now. We're 4 minutes or so before the imbalance comes out on HD. So now I have to figure out how I'm going to protect this, right? My stop is actually sitting at 325, but the stock is at 324. If the imbalance comes out positive, it's going to shoot this thing straight up. If the imbalance comes out negative, well, obviously it's going to go down, but negative is fine because that's where I'm short. So if I'm not going to put a bid down there, but I do want to see how far I can get with a negative imbalance if there is a negative imbalance. So protection to the upside, I'm thinking 324.50, just move the stop, just so that in the event it comes out positive, I'm not taking a full-size hit. It's okay to take the hit. At this point, I do have to close out the position. Looks like it's not going to work out, so I just ran out of time on this one. And look at PLTR, catching some bids at 20 even. A ton of action down there. So now, if we can take 2020, the close should be pretty interesting. If we can get above the high of the day with a positive imbalance, that's the key, right? A positive imbalance with the high of the day being taken out. That could actually shoot this thing quite well to the upside. And let's just take a quick look at the futures here. Yeah, slowing down. Looks like the selling has slowed down a little bit here. Again, 41.80. If we get a break to the upside with the positive imbalance, then I think we got a chance to continue this long. What's up, Brendan?
All right, quick review. As far as earnings are concerned, coming up for next week, in fact, there's still some interesting names. Fisker going to report aftermarket on Monday. This is what's coming, though, either aftermarket tonight or pre-market. A little NFT action here. And yeah, that Lordstown on there as well, guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously I think everyone's going to be a little bit interested in that Lordstown, just given what's been happening in the space. We talked about that in the morning show as well. Fisker, which you just said is aftermarket, with not much time to get in. Thank you, Siggy Me. It is 17% on Wish, so I feel like that hasn't changed. I'm a little surprised. I feel like that hasn't changed. Maybe it'll be a little bit different when we come in on Monday's action. I still have that up on my radar. I had to get out of Disney. Someone asked in the chat, is it Disney reload time? I would almost never reload a position like that going into like 350 when the imbalances come out, right? Like it's just, if it worked the money for you and then it snaps all the way back against you like that, I'll just take it out. So you win on the first little bit, just take it out there. I don't need it coming out of buy imbalance and snapping up and someone had a read on it and then pushes it higher. That's a bigger trader. So there's no need to do that. Now you're sitting in the money in something like a Fisker, like I said before. I have no trouble holding this one into 350. Could it hit my target at 58? Fine. If it comes out of buy imbalance, I'm probably just going to get slapped out and make that last exit, be perfectly happy with it. Even if it comes out against me, it's not taking it through the low of the day. So I'm covered on the downside. I don't have to worry about it. It's almost certainly going to be a winning trade no matter what. ATOS, I'm not concerned with it, but I have to consider the fact that leaving it all the way back to the high of the day at this point is literally ridiculous. I only have 20% left of the position where I thought we'd get down into like 280, low 280s, and VWAP, it kind of held like 83, 84. It's been a fantastic trade, my best one this afternoon. Obviously, you can take a few more shares on a stock and you're only risking a couple of pennies. And at the bottom end, we're making like 13, 14. So risk to reward is fantastic. I still do have to get flat, and I can't let it go all the way back into 3. I'll probably cover at around like 295 if I have no choice. Although because it's in the money, much like that Fisker, I can hold it right into the close if at all possible. I just want to note one other stock because I know some people watch CCL. I'm just noting for myself here, after this rollover, which I thought could have extended into a second move down, the way I was betting on Disney doing so, not just thinking, but betting on Disney doing so, CCL, Carnival, pushing towards the high of the day, up 8%. While the market's at the top. So it kind of looks like, you know, the mask restrictions lifted, that little play, of course, with the not stay at home, but the recovery names are coming through. Definitely showing some strength in CCL, worth noting going into Monday, of course. Still a lot to talk about. I know some people are looking at that AMC. It's not, I'm not avoiding AMC, but I just look, there hasn't been a trade for the entire time that we've been on here, unless you're scalping this like 20, 30 cent range, which I don't think the risk to reward is fantastic with, guys. So I've been staying away from it. The only thing I will say is it's trying to make a move at that 13. Wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if that's what happened. It breaks 13 and then runs at 4. If it doesn't, I've seen these things get sold off in the aftermarket. It's sort of at a key point here. So if you're one of those people that's kind of afraid of losing the profit you've held from yesterday, taking it off isn't the worst thing in the world. Or if you don't see it break at 4 o'clock and you're trading post-market, if it doesn't break 13, just get out of it. Arun?
Yeah, so MPC, imbalance, that's what I was looking up here. Here we have our imbalance locator, our in-house imbalance locator. Just over 2 million shares to the sell side, and the stock barely moved. So that's something to keep an eye on. 2 million shares, okay. What you have to understand now, with the imbalance out at 350, we get our update at 355, which includes the floor interest, right? So that will change the imbalance, whether it's going to add to it or just completely erase it itself. But whatever happens at 355, that's what you got to worry about, because that has a lot more influence on how this market's going to close. The initial 350 move or the initial 350 imbalance will move the stock for a little bit, but then 355 is when the actual floor update comes in with a lot more size, or it can actually erase it or add to it. In this case, MPC is to the sell side for 2 million shares. Okay, we'll hold on to that idea. And I just got out of HD. At this point, I'm running out of time. It doesn't look like it's going to work out, so it's going to be $1 hit on that. No, $2 hit on, just under $2 on that. So walk away from that trade, but we are riding PLTR into the close, it looks like, because the imbalance didn't move the stock. Okay, can we take the high? Because after 355, if this goes above 2020, I think you've got to take a shot into the close. Here at DTTW, we do have a chance to actually send orders directly into the closing book. What we have are called MOC orders, or market on close orders. Maybe your brokers have them as well. Allows us to just participate in the final closing price of the stock by sending that specific order type. So depending on how this stock comes in, I may or may not do this after 355. If the imbalance gets bigger, if the imbalance, again, it all plays out depending on what the imbalance at 355 does. But for now, we are keeping an eye on PLTR, as that's the final position that I've got on going into the close here. Are you carrying anything there, Sean?
I'm carrying that. Look, I have the ATOS now. I just took some out at 94. So, you know, that 98, 99, 98 half area short. I'm going to take some out of it there. And I still have that Fisker, which I don't mind holding that into the close if I don't have to. If I don't have to, I won't. It's like 5 or 6 cents away from my target, just in front of 1060. The thing that's killing me here, and it's like, I know I'm dwelling on Wish. It is what it is. Well, fast. It was such a great stock yesterday. There was just a large order. I shouldn't say a monster order. There's a large order at 980, trying to hold this thing down. If this was any other time of day, I probably would be taking a shot at this consolidation. But this is the sort of setup where, like, risk to reward, it wouldn't really take much at the end of the day to cause spike up a couple cents, because I can't hold it time-wise. Like, I couldn't wait it out until like $10. It's just, you're limited in terms of your options, so I can't put the trade on. But it's one of the, if it doesn't go from here, like, this could really be back at like a 930 or a 940, like right at the close, or maybe even just after the close, especially when it makes a move like that. I mean, who wants to hold? I mean, I guess you're getting a bit of a squeeze story here, and some of the shorts are feeling the pain, but I got to feel after yesterday's action and the way the stock has been going that there's some shorts that are pretty comfortable with that wish position, given how beat down it's been. It's going to be a good one, I think, come Monday. And Brennan, this is all you. I'll give it one last one, but I'll give it the Wiz in honor, because Sean named this one the Wiz, that graphic. But I'm going to get all out of ATOS on the bid here at 91. There's enough of a bid. Whoops, that's still wish. There's enough of a bid here on that 290 area. There we go. I always do NZ. Why is there an NZ? We have New Zealand, I guess, in the market. Anyways, there's a bit of a bid here at 90. I kind of feel like when it came off, I got 94s out when it stalled at 95, and then figured, okay, it's not going to go any further than this. Likely chance it just hangs out here in that 10-cent range off of the top, guys. So I'm all out of ATOS. We'll walk away from it. In honor of Sean, this should have. Why did this not go to Snowflake? There we go. Flip. In honor of Sean, who was talking about Snowflake, I just wanted to note here, Sean, you're probably not watching, but Palantir at the high of the day. Fisker had positive news. Cardano crushed it, and I'm not sure if Sean ended up getting into Snowflake, but Snowflake's up 12%. So a big day across the board. Good thing you took it off. I'm kind of ribbing at him there, but it's all jokes aside. Big move in Snowflake. I don't think we covered it too much this morning because we're looking at that Square trade, which was fantastic, is along as well. But Snow, probably even better. I think the only one that topped it would have been DoorDash, which was just gangbusters.
Yeah. At this point, I'm just keeping an eye on PLTR. I've got a few minutes left to dump this stock. I want to see how we're going to play around 20, because in the final couple minutes, you might see an acceleration. Now, if I see that acceleration, I'm probably going to offer right into that and just get out. Now, if we start to fall just below 20, I gotta get myself out. I can't be waiting on this. But I just want to see what we got above 20 in terms of stops. We're running late on time, so there could be some new players coming in for the close specifically, and that's what I want to see. Are those players going to come in at 20, right at the end there? So in the final minute, 2 minutes, around 3:58, in about a couple minutes or so, I want to see an acceleration through 2020. If we get that, then I think it's time to start offering into the position, starting to offer our position into that buying so we can get out. Now, futures, what do you do with the futures at this point? Day's done. At this point, there's not a whole lot you can do. If this selling had come down a little bit more, there could have been a potential pickup on longs. But at this point, with 4180 sitting there, you would have to get that breakout, and then you really don't know how much is left in the tank, given that this thing is already up 1.63% for the day. So with that said, we're going to have to close our eyes to the futures there and just worry about PLTR with 3 minutes left at the end of the day. Neil, what do you got?
Sorry, I just want to update you guys. I got out of that Fisker. Like, it made the turn here. Looks like it's heading back. We're about 5 cents away from the target, but with 2 minutes to go, no choice. Got to be flat by the end of the day. We got a super chat here, and thank you very much, Juan, for the super chat. But the question is not just when you're trading from when one of us is gone, Arun, but can we follow your futures trades on a regular basis? I don't want to speak for you. I would say that would be fantastic, but it's not my call, is it?
Yeah, here's the thing, right? I don't have social media. I'm not on anything. So if you see me on anything, it's probably not me. So I don't have social media. I don't post anything. So unfortunately, it does for now. It does have to be anytime I'm on the show is when I'm able to show you guys what I'm doing. So maybe that'll change in the future. That's really up in the air. But for the time being, unfortunately, it's going to be status quo. One of these guys are taking a break. I'll be in. I can give you guys every morning at 9 o'clock. I am coming in to give you guys the levels I'm looking at, of course, throughout the day. So just keep that in mind. Obviously,
how about this? Like every now and then, like if someone has a question, they throw it in the chat, or we get like a super chat like that. If we message you when you're trading, it's just like, hey man, people are asking about this level, and you give your thoughts. We can relay those back. I would assume. Yeah, so I mean, we can find a way to make that happen, guys. I mean, Arun is going to be always live trading, and we can always just have like a chat. Like, what are your thoughts here? We're approaching this level. Give us your context, and you can throw it into the chat, and we'll get it back to you guys. Brendo?
I was just checking on the Seagate Technologies, guys. STX, just an absolute rocket ship so far today. Look at this chart. I mean, there's barely a red candle until now, obviously, but it was up 15% at the high. 99.10, I think, was the high there. All-time highs for Seagate, STX. One to keep in mind maybe for Monday, guys.
All right. I am actually going to dump my PLTR position at 2010. It doesn't look like we have enough gas in the tank to go to the highs. At least it didn't look like it. So I just dumped it. I'm not going to sit and hold on to this position. I need the volume, so let's just get it all out. Close out the day, and PLTR is done from 55 long to 2010 on the exit. That's a cool 55 cents. So let's just walk away from this and call it a good day. Hey, I'm 4 for 1 this week, and I'll close out the week positive. What's up there? How are you doing there, Neil?
You know what's hilarious? It's like, so you guys see me do market making on the side in those buyouts. Like all the stuff you see on the show has been fantastic this week. I've been getting my butt kicked doing spread trading, which usually is like the laziest thing that doesn't move. One of these days I'll show you what it looks like when they move. But outside of that, it's been fantastic. I gotta drop the countdown because it's already 5, 4. I'm sure it's Randy. No, it's not. It's Miss V on the bell. Sorry, ring it. If Randy's here, I just assume Randy's on the bell because it's always Randy when he's here. So, anyways, that's why it wasn't that I was trying to like throw shade, Valeria, but usually I'm used to Randy doing something crazy when he shows up. It's been a fantastic show. On the 1s and 2s, Maggie did a fantastic job, but I don't think there's much of anything to look at the close. We'll get an update. That AMC never broke that 13, by the way.
Yeah, pretty good look here, guys, as far as the numbers are concerned for the day, and unfortunately not for the week. Still down on the week. But I just checked. We're 1.6% away from all-time highs again for the S&P 500. So yeah, 1.5. NASDAQ led 2.2. Nice way to wrap up the week right across the board.
You can't ask for anything better than that. I mean, we're green across the board. We're pretty happy with the way. We had lots of stocks that moved today. I'm not happy about that MPC, of course, because I got to that news too late. But, you know, obviously it's been a fun one. Arun, thank you, of course, as always, for stepping in for Sean so we can have a long weekend. Even though he can't golf, I'm sure he's finding a way to do so anyways.
Well, nope. You know, it's great to come in once in a while and just kind of trade and let people see my trades. So it's easy to talk about. I'm giving you guys the levels, but sometimes the dynamic, I feel weird sometimes because I say something at 9 o'clock and then by 9:20 my mind has completely changed of what I just said. So I don't want to leave people with the impression that I'm still doing what I said at 9 o'clock because it changes. Markets change, people's minds change, new information comes into play. So the fact that you can see my mind changing as I'm trading. I did it on a lot of these stocks throughout the day. So if you guys were watching, it's good to kind of put that clarity out there. And I appreciate everyone who's been supportive in the chat. Thank you so much for me being there. I know you guys are expecting a little more noise and more action and energy. Unfortunately, I'm not that guy. I kind of am a little bit more mellow. But hey, everyone's different, trade different. Everyone has a different approach. Take it however you want to take it. But just understand that there's no one single way to trade, and just take that with a grain of salt and just, hey, be better tomorrow. Valeria, what do you got? Nothing.
Everyone loves you, but I want to say a thank you, Daniel Bender. Thank you for the late super chat there. But by the way, that pineapple pizza, it's not a debate. A debate is between like pros and cons and two legitimate opinions, right? So there are no two legitimate opinions. Pineapple and pizza is terrible, so therefore it's not an actual
Can we just
debate.
cut his
it's just
mic?
people that are wrong and me.
I'm gonna go get some
cut his mic?
pineapple
I don't want to
pizza.
hear him talk about this anymore because
You know,
he's so wrong.
It's
What you wanna do about it?
Friday.
What you gonna do about
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, it's Friday. Let's get out of here, guys, for the entire team. Down the line, Miss V, thank you, Arun, for stepping in for my man, Sean Katina, who's, I'm sure, enjoying the sun, for Brendan Wickens, for the entire production crew, although I don't see Rob, it is Maggie, and it is Lucas on the 1s and 2s. There you are, looking good. You cleaned it up a little bit. There's no copy. Yeah, it's better. I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.